Tonight, a courtroom twist in the case of confessed Parkland shooter that sets the stage for a jury to decide if Nikolas Cruz should be put to death for killing 17 people 3 years ago.
CBS 12's Andrew Lofholm is live outside the Fort Lauderdale courthouse to explain what happens next. Andrew?
Yeah, 9 months after the Parkland shooting, the shooter actually attacked a guard at the jail. That trial was set to start next week, but this morning he pled guilty to all those charges. The lawyer also said this morning that next week he's going to plead guilty to all 34 charges associated with Parkland.
How do you wish to plead?
I plead guilty.
Closure is a little closer now with the first of 2 rounds of the Parkland shooter's guilty pleas. Debbie Hickson's husband, Chris, was the athletic director at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. He was killed Valentines Day 2018 trying to save students and disarm the shooter.
The fact that we don't have to sit through a trial when there's not a single person in the world that doesn't think he's guilty, that to me was a waste of time anyway. And we can move straight to the penalty phase. I'm glad for that. We've been waiting almost 4 years.
Today is the beginning of the end of the legal proceedings. Next week, the shooter's lawyers say he'll plead guilty for shooting 34 people. For the 17 he hurt, it will be consecutive life sentences. For the 17 killed, the state is asking for the death penalty, something Debbie Hickson, in this case, supports.
It conflicts with what, I've believed my whole life, but I just don't believe that he should be able to suck up one more ounce of resources from our community. I refuse to let him take more from me than he's already taken. 12
jurors will be summoned. All 12 will need to vote yes to death. If just one says no, it will mean 17 more consecutive life sentences. Aref Jabour is a jury consultant.
You get 12 people to agree to decide whether or not somebody's going to be on death row versus life in prison. I believe it'll be difficult to get to that point. But given the degree of publicity of this crime, given the fact that he's pleading guilty to everything, it may not be that difficult.
Now, whatever the jury decides will be a recommendation to the judge who will ultimately hold the fate of the shooter in her hands. Now, as far as the timeline goes, next Wednesday is when the shooter is expected to enter all those guilty pleas, and then in November, jury selection starts, and then in January next year is when the punishment phase is expected to begin.
Crisis is being felt in local school districts.
Yeah, food shortages and delivery delays have meal programs juggling menus and ingredients to a point where it's starting to be a concern about getting kids the lunches they want to serve. CBS 12's Treasure Coast reporter Denise Sawyer has a story tonight.
We got a little wake-up call from our distributor who said our supply chain is going to get dicey. Look at what's happening and prepare yourselves.
In Okeechobee County, the school district is trying to stock up.
We've got number 10 cans of products, and those are the things that we are having a difficult time getting as well.
The stockpile of cafeteria food is running low as the worsening supply chain problems across the U.S. makes itself felt in our school cafeterias. And when food delivery trucks do show up, there's no telling what's arriving.
Local
Okeechobee's food service supervisor Lisa Bell says chicken, beef, and bread are now hard to come by.
Last week, we did not get 75 cases of hamburger buns.
The same supply chain snarls are also plaguing other school districts. In Martin County today, CBS 12 News was there when a shipment of food was a no-show.
Here at J.D. Parker Elementary School, which feeds about 800 students, an order for dinner rolls didn't come in today, so a last-minute change was made, and now these are on the menu.
When we place our order, they say, oh, we can't get it. It's not in stock.
The director of Food and Nutrition Services in Martin County says a major food vendor is pulling out.
We were notified that U.S. Food, our main distributor, is stopping service on December 31st.
Forcing the district to get creative while finding a new supplier.
In emergencies, we've had to make runs to Sam's Club or even Publix.
We were beginning to see some instances where we were not able to fulfill our menus, and that concerned us. We have to think On the fly, we have to think fast, we have to be creative, but the news continues to be that this is not going away, not getting better.
For students who have come to expect the unexpected during this whirlwind of a school year, cafeteria staff are working hard to give them something to look forward to at lunchtime.
I want them to say, I love school lunch the best. You know, we're working with it, you know, and we're doing a great job.
This type of cancer found most commonly in women, it can impact men as well.
Yeah, in fact, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report the number of cases of breast cancer in men is on the rise.
Yeah, Kara Duffy joins us here in studio this morning with an important message from doctors. Kara?
Matt, Ashley, most women are taught from a very early age the importance of routine breast cancer screenings, even doing their own self-exams at home. Men, on the other hand, probably not so much on their radar, but according to doctors, it needs to be. And here's why. Dr. Christine Simone is an oncologist with Stewart Oncology Associates. She says there's been a 26% increase in male breast cancer patients, a number that's grown over the years, with obesity being the leading risk factor for the disease in men. And that's because obesity increases levels of estrogen. Just like with women, men should be on the lookout for any abnormal mass in the breast. Take a listen.
Typically, it's hard and firm. A lot of times I counsel my patient that it might feel like a frozen green pea as a frame of reference. Typically in men, it will be behind the nipple or beneath the nipple. Sometimes will cause the nipple to invert and retract, and the mass would feel firm when they check their breast.
Dr. Simone says there's no set guidelines for breast cancer screenings in men, but does recommend having a doctor check at your annual physical appointments. Now, most importantly, get familiar with your body. Speak up if something looks or feels different to you. As we know, early detection is key in both men and women. Ashley?
It's so important to think about, Kara, not during just this month, all year round. This morning, too, doctors are also worried about people delaying cancer screening, saying more and more patients are coming in with cancer in advanced stages. The research shows nearly 64% of people have put off routine screenings due to this pandemic. Things like mammograms, colonoscopies, skin care checks, and pap smears.